Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and once again today we are going to be talking teddies. Specifically this time we are going to look at the little keyring teddies from Prima. So this is their soft toy range. Obviously you've got the big teddies and then we've got these little keyring teddies as well, so they've got a little keychain on them. Cracking little product, really easy to do in your flat press. They come with the little removable t-shirts, so I'll just pull that off. It's a tight fit. Yep, so they come with the little removable t-shirts, and that goes in the flat press. So we're going to look at how to, get a design. I can't get my words out today. Get a design onto the little t-shirt. But yeah, I've seen these things used from all sorts, from wedding favours all the way through to birthday presents. I even seen somebody actually give one to their grandparents. I think it was the rabbit one, to announce that they were pregnant and they were expecting a baby. So yeah, we've got a really wide variety of uses and a cracking little product. So to do this, what you're going to need is a heat press. So we are going to use the Prima Heat Presses Auto Plus press for this one. This is a 40x50 press, but any flat press should work just as well. Then you're going to need a printer. So in this video we're using the Epson F100 sublimation printer, so this little A4 sublimation printer. You're going to need some sublimation paper. We're using the Prima paper for this transfer. You're then going to need some ink. So obviously we're using the Epson ink for the F100 printer here. And you're going to need something to measure your blank with so you get your artwork the right size. So I've got a little measuring tape there on top of the printer as well. Now to hold the transfer down, you're also going to want some heat tape. So add that to your list there. You're also going to want to use some baking paper like we've got here, or something like a Teflon sheet or some polyester fabric, just to cover over the blank teddy while they're in the press. This not only protects the fur a little bit from coming into contact with the heating element, but it also protects your press from any back transfer of ink. Okay, so once you've got all that together, you just need to choose which one of the keyrings you want to decorate. So in this video we're going to use the little Highland cow one. Obviously the same process applies to any of them in the range of plush toy keyrings. Just a quick one before we get into the pressing. Cameraman Sam has kindly reminded me that you can also print the labels on these teddies. So Prima have left the back of the label intentionally blank, so you can put your own branding on there. So that's 100% polyester, but we'll show you how to print that there in the video as well. Okay, so once we've got all of our stuff together, we now need to get some artwork for the little guy. So first thing we need to do before we do that is actually measure where we're going to put it and how much room we've got to play with. So with these little key rings, obviously you take the t-shirt off to go into the press, but I tend to measure things like this actually on the object itself, because it gives you a better idea of how it's going to sit with the contour. So what you don't want is you don't want to print, it's big, and then it just sort of run off to the side like that, you see. So what I want to do is I'm just going to measure that way, like that. So we're looking at 30, I would say 30 or 35 millimeters we've got to work with across the t-shirt, and I would say around about 25 millimeters or 2.5 centimeters tall on the t-shirt. Yeah, I would recommend for 3D items like this using a tailor's tape like this. Obviously with the tape measure you can't quite get it to follow the curve of the teddy. And that can lead you to sort of making some mistakes with the measurement. So a tailor's tape like this, really cheap option, but lets you see more how the artwork's going to look when it's on the bear. Alright, so we're going to do the same for the tag on the back, which is printable. So we are looking at, you're looking at around about, I would say 15 millimeters wide, or 1.5 centimeters, and 2.5 centimeters, 25 millimeters long there. Okay, so that's the size we need for that. Again, I'll get Sam to put these measurements up onto the screen. If you wanted to print the back of the teddy's t-shirt, you can probably go for, I would say 40 millimeters wide, and the height will be the same as the front at 25 millimeters. Okay, now we need to take his t-shirt off so we can get it in the press. So we just pop the arms out like so. It looks a bit brutal this when you're doing it on the teddies, but there we go. Pop the arms out, pop it over his head, and then you turn the t-shirt back the right way around. There we go. Now you might find if they're brand new you get a little bit of dust come off, or a few little hairs and things. You want to get those out of the way. But there you go, there's the t-shirt. We will let's get some artwork printed. Okay, so for all of the parts of this teddy, what we're going to want to do is set our press to 185 degrees C, and we're going to run it for 70 seconds, okay? For the feet and the body, you're going to want the pressure to be quite firm, and then obviously we'll need to increase that again for the ears, because they're thinner, and then again for the label, because it's thinner again. Okay, so we're going to start with 185 degrees C for 70 seconds. Okay, so there's our little print to go on the t-shirt, and all we need to do is just lay that on, make sure it's the right way up. You can kind of see through the back of the sublimation paper. Stick it down initially, have a look, see if you think it's straight, and then make any adjustments that you need to. So I'm just going to adjust that to try and follow as best I can the seam along the top. There we go. And maybe put a little bit more tape on that, just so it doesn't bounce when it comes up and out of the press. If it bounces, you're gonna get ghosty, and that's going to kind of spoil the look of the t-shirt. There we go. So that's nice and firmly taped to that t-shirt. Let's get it over to the press. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to put the t-shirt in the middle of the press, facing up, and then we just want to get a little bit of baking paper to cover the top. That's just going to protect your press from any ink transferring back. We just want to close that down, and there we go. Okay guys, so we're just about ready. The press is going to pop in a moment. So obviously we're using the auto open here, it's going to pop up. There we go. Remove the baking paper, we'll get this onto the bench and we'll get the design off. Alright, so we just want to get this tape off there. There we go. You want to make sure you try and get it off as smooth as you can. But there we go, it's printed. Then what we want to do is bring the teddy back in and pop the t-shirt back on. So we've just got to push his head through like that. Spin it round. If you've ever dressed a child, you'll know how fiddly this can be. And there we go. Right, so when it comes to pressing your logo onto the label, so you can obviously brand them yourselves, what you need to do is get your design. So I've got my design there that actually just says your logo for the purposes of the video. Yeah, and then you just want to tape that onto the label itself. You can try and get it as straight as you can. There we go. So we've just taped that onto the logo, onto the label. Then we'll take it over to the press and I'll show you what we're doing there. Alright, so over to the press, you're just going to be using the edge of your press for this. So I'm going to put the baking paper on first, and then I'm just going to slide. What you want to do is make sure on here that this hair is taken out of the way, yeah, because it will, especially on these ones, they are quite long. You don't want it to stain your label. Alright, so pop it in the side of the press, like so. Just, move your hair back a little bit, that's it. And then pop that over the top. That's just going to protect it. What I would do is I would bring that up the bear a little bit. If you actually slide the baking paper or your Teflon or whatever you're using up the bear, that can help to push some of that paper out of the way. Yeah? And we just want to bring the press down and close it. And I would recommend you hold the bear while it's in the press. If you hold the toy, it means it's not going to hang off the label and things, it's less likely to move. Okay, there we go. So this is going to pop now, keeping hold of the teddy, like so. Get the baking paper out of the way, and then we'll get the label peeled. Alright, there we go. So now all we need to do is just grab the tape and peel it off the label. There you go. Your logo, literally, on the label. Alright guys, and that is it. So these are really straightforward to do with the little t-shirts on them. Don't worry if you do mess up your t-shirt as well, you can actually buy these separately. So if you do mess up a t-shirt, don't worry, but they're really straightforward. If you follow this video, you shouldn't have any problems at all. Other thing to note about these is that this keychain can actually be removed. So you can take that, get rid of it, and you can use that as a little teddy as well. So again, brilliant for gifts, stuff like that. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to cover on these. Again, like all the time, everything we use in this video, all the printers, the presses and everything are available from our website, or you can find the products in the description below. There'll be a link down there. But yeah, that's it guys. Thanks for watching. Stick around for more videos like this and have a great day.